Welcome back to Indyfest 2021. I'm John Ralston, the editor of the Nevada Independent, coming to you live from the amazing Warray Studios in Las Vegas, Nevada. We are doing a series of focus groups today. We're going to be releasing our entire poll, including horse race results in the Nevada governor's and Senate races tomorrow. Later on today, I'm going to be chatting with internationally renowned data expert Nate Silver, so stick around for that. But we're here now with our second live focus group, a very important cohort in Nevada elections, has been for some time now, Nevada's Latino voters, and I'm thrilled to have some of them behind me, and we're going to have a conversation that's going to start right now. Welcome to all of you. Thank you to all six of you for coming. Let's just let people know a little bit about who you are, and let's start at the end over there. Just tell me your name. You only have to use your first name. You don't have to give your last name if you don't want. How long you've been in Nevada and what you do?
My name is Julio. I'm 25. I'm a caregiver. I work in facilities. I've been here for about 9 years.
Okay. My name is Monica Brox, and I've been in Las Vegas for 5 years as an executive assistant.
My name is Renee. I've been in the Las Vegas area for over 50 years, and I'm working risk management.
Hello, I'm Jose. I'm living in Las Vegas for 33 years. I'm working all over the casinos, banquet server.
My name is Sally Romero. I've lived in Las Vegas for 30 years, and I work for an attorney for a law firm.
Okay.
What's up, everyone? My name is John Gomez, and I work on music. I have my own, I have all the equipment I need to really do my own production, and I write songs, and that's what I do, really, my main hobby.
That's great. I could tell a little bit about the songs by that amazing tattoo you have on there with the notes. That's an amazing tattoo.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
So just real quickly, just so people get a sense of which way you might lean politically, we're going to find out more. Raise your hand if you're a registered Democrat right now. Okay? Anybody registered Republican here? Anybody registered as a nonpartisan or any other party? All right. So it's good to know that. So let's talk a little bit about your voting, what you care about, and jump in. This is just a conversation. I will be not completely a potted plant, but I want this to be a conversation among yourselves. What issues are important to you? Who wants to start? Don't be shy.
Healthcare.
Go ahead.
Healthcare.
Tell me why.
Just a lot of has changed over the years. You know, a lot of plans for the elderly as they get older. Their benefits are cut back. They were promised a better, health care as you get older, you retire. It's not just to be that way anymore. It doesn't seem that it's that way anymore. And they're the ones that really need to be addressed and taken care of, So I just think healthcare is a big.
Okay.
My biggest interest is our economy. I would like to see our city, state diversify themselves outside of the gaming industry and hospitality. I think we need to attract other types of businesses so we don't get hit as hard as we did during this pandemic, and also back in 2007 when we had the first crash.
Anybody else? What issues are important? Go ahead.
For me, I think it's law enforcement at this point. I just hear and see too much where I almost feel like there's too many police officers that are not being vetted enough. They're coming in from being in the service, and whether or not they have that anxiety or the need to defend a little bit too much. And I believe that it's very important that we are not fearful of our police. Whereas when they want to stop us, we're not fearful for our lives.
It's a great answer. Julio, what's most important to you? What issues?
I would agree with her. Just law enforcement.
Okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jose.
My concern is the guy who was before and the president don't come back no more because I don't want to happen again. That happened in January 6th in the Congress. not good for this country, you know.
Okay.
All you guys had great points. I was going to say the economy as well, but I think there's a big split in the whole country because of the way everyone gets their news from different sources. And I think something that's important is just, you know, trying harder to make news, give the right news. You know, there's a lot of false news all around, and that's what creates like a big split amongst, you know, everyone.
That bothers you?
Yeah, I think it should kind of bother everyone. You know, if you're not, if you can't rely on a source, when there's two outlets that they're both supposed to be news, but they each kind of have their own biasness to them. So I think, yeah, that's important. You know, we all gather our info from somewhere, you know, so just that reliability, I think, is something that is lacking right now.
You know, I think all of those answers are great, but what fascinates me about it is that if you listen to the politicians and you listen to the media, my business too much, there is this kind of superficial view, oh, the Latino vote. Well, their biggest issue is immigration. That's all they care about. We should just talk about immigration. Do you think I'm right that that's how the media and politicians treat Latino voters, that immigration must be up here and everything else is down there? Or tell me I'm wrong. You're allowed to tell me I'm wrong, too. Who has an opinion on that?
I feel that. I feel that that they, especially the Democratic Party, feels that that's a given vote for them, and I think they only feel if they massage them or present them on a silver platter the issue of immigration that that's going to make them happy and get their vote. But I think they need to open their eyes and realize that there's many more factors as we discussed here. Is, you know, health insurance, economy, law enforcement. It's issues that we in the community have to face every day. So I think they need to widen their perspective and say that Hispanic vote that one time was given to the Democrats, well, we've got to now earn it instead of just expecting it.
Anybody else with thoughts on that? Do we talk about immigration too much when we're talking about the Latino vote? Does it feel patronizing to you? Does it feel like you're being condescended to or taken for granted, as he puts it? What's feelings on that? Have I stunned you into silence? You can't be silent. That's the only requirement.
Yeah. I agree with you.
I agree.
Yes.
Definitely from the Democratic side, I think it's always just expected to get not only Latinos, but, you know, the black vote or, you know, all the minorities. So you're right. I agree with that. It should be, every vote should be earned, and there's got to be more than more topics, more issues involved that have to do with the Latino community.
Any thoughts?
I think we need another one, Ronald Reagan, because in 1998, no more amnesty for immigration. We need one more Ronald Reagan, I guess.
In what way? What do you think would be the best policy?
Making an amnesty for the immigrants.
You think amnesty should be the policy?
I guess.
Yes? Okay, it's fine. Go ahead.
It's true that I believe sometimes the Democratic Party, they believe they move from the heart, right? And when they're talking about the immigration and they talk about the people coming into this country, they do need to understand that there's a wider variety of issues among the Latinos. And it's not just immigration. So they need to open that up, just like he said. That would be a really good start.
Do any of you think that you'd be more likely to vote, no matter what the party was, Republican, Democrat, nonpartisan, if there was a Latino candidate running? Would you think that that person would be able to relate to your concerns more? Because that is another thought, right, by politicians and people in the media, that you can appeal to the Latino vote, the Hispanic vote, by running Hispanic candidates. What do you guys think of that?
I don't think it matters who it is.
I don't, yeah.
What'd you say, Julio? I'm sorry, you go ahead.
I don't think it matters if he's Hispanic, white, or black. I mean, if he's there to help, he's going to be there to help. I mean, doesn't matter. I'm not going to relate to this guy more because he's Hispanic or because he's black or because he's white. I mean, if he's reaching out to the Latino vote, then I'm all for it.
And I believe in the last presidential race, there was a candidate who was, I forgot his name, but I know he was, I forgot what descent, but he was Latino. And
Julian Castro, I think you're probably talking about. Yeah,
right. And it didn't really have to do with anything. I was kind of more of a fan of Andrew Yang, who's Asian, so it might bring more attention, but at the end of the day, we still look into it more than that and see if, like you said, we see who we feel, and that comes from the heart.
What do you think about, all of you have been affected in some ways by COVID, by the pandemic, whether it's healthcare issues or economic issues, it's affected everybody, right? How do you think the governor's handled that from the beginning to now? Who has thoughts on that? I hope you all have thoughts. Go ahead, Annika, you have thoughts.
Yes, I do. In the beginning, it was really scary. I kept thinking our governor was handling everything right on point. But because this is something brand new to us, everybody is just running ragged, going different directions. The news is all over the place. Information is everywhere, and that causes confusion, and we don't know what to believe. We do know that families and friends are dying. That is obvious, even though some people say that's not true, which is crazy. But you're handling everything as it comes because it's something brand new for us all. So they're doing the best that they can. I believe they're doing the best they can at this point.
So you give the governor a thumbs up, thumbs sideways? What?
I give him a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
I do.
All right. Anybody else? Thoughts on that? Go ahead. Jump in.
Exactly. Exactly what I said. When it first started, everybody was, taking all the measures that they have for safety. And then as everybody started seeing the economy, how it's, so then like you say, it goes sideways. And now I believe, they're hand in hand with the people and with the governor making the right decisions, I feel. Before we just didn't have a voice. It didn't seem like it was their decision, and that was the bottom line. And now, we have a choice. If you want to go out to the casinos and wear the mask that is, required, then, we're having the freedom to act. So I think you're doing a great job.
So 2 thumbs up so far.
I would give it the third. I think he was put in a tough situation. Every day, every week, every month, things changed. I think he was pretty consistent with the guidelines of the CDC, and then those, of course, were always changing. In my opinion, if he was really wanted to look at himself, he wanted to look good, he would open up the gaming industry, and he didn't. He made a tough decision to have to shut us down for the safety of our population. It wasn't easy, but I think it's something that needed to be done. Mm-hmm. And I believe that he really showed that he cared about our city, and he was basically putting everything on science and letting CDC guide him. And things could take a step forward and 2 back, but that's how we handled it. And it looks like we're slowly getting out of it.
And I want to remind everybody, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're a Republican, and you still believe the Democratic governor did the right thing, stood up to the casinos, had the people's interests at heart. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
There's another thumbs up. Anybody else want to talk about the governor who hasn't talked? Yeah. Julio, what do you think?
I mean, I think he handled it right. I mean, shutting us down and stuff like that and following the CDC, I think he did right by it.
Okay. What do you think?
I think why China is no more COVID, and USA, I think the 5th or 4th richest country in the world, we still the COVID. I don't know why. It's my concern.
But what about closer to home. You live in Nevada. What do you think of the governor? You think he did a good job, bad job?
What's in the middle?
In the middle, thumb sideways. What do you think, Jim?
I'd probably, go sideways too, just for the reason that I spent some, time in California recording music, and when I left, everything was more open here. Everything was completely closed in California, and then I come back, and then things were closed again. So it was just kind of a bit of a letdown, and kind of like you said, a lot of today it's one thing, tomorrow's another thing. Mask on, then it's mask off. So, I don't think it's a horrible situation, but, it could probably be better. And it's Sin City, you know what I mean? Like, I like things being open. I like the casinos. I like this being a spot that, it's up to you if you want to go to the casino and be around smoke and gambling. It's always been up to the people, and I think that's something important that we should always feel, that it's up to us.
You want to jump in again, Monica?
I get really nervous when I hear something like that, only because this is a pandemic. And you can be in a casino with a lot of people that are smoking and drinking and stuff, but then you go home and you die, or you give it to someone else. And it continues on and continues on and continues on. At what point do we take responsibility? Our governor did, and he's trying the best he can, but you always have that thing where we automatically want things to be normal. Things are not normal anymore. So you have to get used to the things that are not normal. And I've been traveling, but I use that mask everywhere I go so that I can travel. But I get to live, so that's important to me, is to follow the guidelines so that we can have a future.
Are you guys glad that the governor imposed the mask mandate that you have to?
I do.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. It's just something that it's not a popular decision, politically wise, and even as a resident, but something we had to do. It's something that at that point was necessary to stop the spread. I mean, the numbers don't lie that we're going up. There's somebody's got to be the bad guy. Unfortunately, is the governor at this point has to make those decisions, and I don't care what political hit I get. I care about my population here in Nevada, and so I'm going to do what the CDC is recommending we do.
Mask mandate, what do you think?
Oh, I think it's a great idea. People come from all over the world. Like you see, the first question that anyone asks is, have you been out of the country? Whether you want to be honest or not. I mean, some people aren't honest. So the mask just kind of protects you, whether you want to keep the truth or, have your own decision about it. I think the mask is a wonderful thing.
Well, last thing I might add, with certain precautions, it may seem like it's unnecessary to me sometimes. Like right now in this very moment, none of us, not one person has a mask on. And that's for a reason, because we have these wristbands that show we've been vaccinated or whatever the case, but there's certain precautions. So with that being said, I understand your point. I completely agree. It's nice to know that, things have changed, but hey, at least we're still living with a certain comfort that lets us know that most likely we're not gonna contract this deadly disease. But with that being said, with certain precautions, you can change things up and I think still have that comfort. And I think option is just always important. I think if that gives you more peace, have that mask on whenever, each of us could have still had it on right now. Because even, it's been said that even with the vaccinations, you can still contract COVID. So it's kind of my take on it.
We should say that everyone, I hope all of you, I did, got checked at the door, right? You were asked, temperature was taken, they asked you to show that you were vaccinated, right? So we're taking those precautions. People have just come to accept it as part of life, right?
Yes.
Have to.
If this were something you could see, like for instance, leprosy. If you could see someone with leprosy, you would stay away, right? Because we can't see this doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right? So for me, I have to pretend in my head that this is saving you and it's going to save me. And that way we can continue with society.
I want to talk about something actually that Monica talked about earlier, and I think was on Julio's mind as well, and it's especially an important issue, and we polled on it for minorities such as Latinos or blacks. That's the issue of law enforcement, the issue of police, defunding the police. Do you think the police need more tools? Do you think there needs to be reform? I'm wondering how you all feel about that, and whether as a member of a minority population, you think that affects your perception of the police and the job that they are doing. Who wants to say something about that? Go ahead, Monica. You can start it off again, but you guys can't be shy. No shyness allowed. Go ahead.
There needs to be accountability. Just as if, any job has accountability. Any job you have. Whether you're a nurse, a doctor, lawyer, wherever you work in any industry, you have to have accountability for what you do, and you have to follow rules and regulations. That's it. If they can follow accountability, if they're not written up, if they're written up many times and they're transferred to another place, and they continue to do things that are not right, how does that help the society?
You trust the police?
No.
Julio's shaking his head. Why not? Why not?
Because, man, I mean, it's just different. I think we have all encountered our own situations with him. So my situations with him, I don't know, they just see minorities and they feel empowered, They just see us and we're like nobody to them. They got that badge or they're called police officers, so they just seem superior sometimes to us, man, and I don't like it.
That's a pretty strong statement. People think that Julio's right, that it's different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as a Latino, if I ever come across a cop, I'm thinking in my head, I hope it's a cool cop. And just that thought alone, it's kind of wrong. Like, we should that's already an untrustworthy thought, but it comes off just of instinct.
Why do you think you feel that way, John?
Well, when you look all over, based off personal experiences as well, and how you get treated by one cop and how you might get treated by another. It's been different. And then if you look outside of yourself and your own experiences, it's all over the world. It's all over the news. Just instances where, police have dealt with situations in a way that we all know it's not the right way. So if anything, maybe with the world changing and whatnot, there should be a change in the type of training that is in the police force, and not only the police force, but in school and education. It's a new time. A lot of change is going on, and people have to change with it and see how we can retrain the new.
Who else has a feeling about the police?
Somebody stole my phone last month. I called 311, and the police told me, for where they stealing the phone? I told the address, and he told me, let me transfer to other department. So, nobody answered me.
Do you think you were treated differently because you were a Latino, or do you think it was just in general how they, just the bureaucratic problem with how they have that line set up?
I think because of my accent, Latino.
You think because your accent, because you have a heavy Latino accent, you think that they feel free to treat you that way? That's how you felt?
Yeah.
Yeah? Has any of you ever felt that way?
I felt that once as a younger person growing up here, but we have to understand is times have changed, and I think one is 20 years ago, we don't know if their behavior changed or was it always the same. Today, it's because it's on camera. Everything's on camera, so we see it. Was it there before? We don't know. I do know that our community has grown crazy. It's tremendously just overflowing, where the police officers have to backtrack. They don't get enough training. And then one thing that I see missing, that growing up here, you know, my dad being an executive in the gaming industry, there's no respect. The guests have absolutely no respect for our community. They think that they can do whatever they want. And I think police officers are put in a tough position to respond to this, the unruly behavior. In the old days, somebody, you know, misbehaving in a casino, you're gonna go down to the basement and have a nice talk with some people. And then it was just respect. There was always that fear that you just need to behave well. Right now, the things that I see in the streets and the young people, it's scary. And I hope not only our community, but nationwide, worldwide, that we get back to our morals and the kindness that the people have to show respect for everyone. And I think if we give it our first foot forward and show them respect, I think we'll get it back. Yes, there's bad apples everywhere. There's a bad mechanic, there's good mechanics. There's great doctors, there's bad doctors. We're always going to find that, unfortunately. That's just life.
What do you guys think about what's happening down at the border? Do you think the policies are good? Are you worried about? That's another kind of thing. I mentioned immigration earlier, but there's this kind of caricature that Hispanics, Latinos like all immigration, doesn't matter whether it's legal or otherwise, that you don't care as much about what's happening at the border as white people do, right? How do you feel about the policies at the border and what's going on?
Personally, and I'll speak up on this, I was born and raised in Juarez, Chihuahua, Mexico, right on the border of El Paso, Texas. Until recently, El Paso, Texas is one of the safest cities in our nation. So that goes to show that it's just not the Hispanics coming over the border and creating crime. It's not. They come over to work by their necessities. On the other hand, and then also me personally coming across the border to find the great hope and success. This country's been awesome to us. Hard work, good luck, and some luck, and a lot of little things ahead in front of us. But I think right now we need to put a freeze on immigration. We need 6 months, 9 months, whatever it takes. Let's take a step back. No one can be processed. Let's just stop. And this stops the inflow of, the new issue with the Haitians coming in, and it's ongoing. I understand there's another 60,000 waiting in Alpha Chile or something like that, ready to come in on a boat. I think we just need to freeze it, step back, work on the Dreamers, the ACT, the DACA program, see what we're going to do. Let's just fix what we have now before we take on other problems. Let's just put a pause and then take care of what we have now. And then once we sort that out, then slowly we can start opening up our borders. And I know that's a tough issue, because coming from another country, you wouldn't want to hear somebody say that. But I think we need to pause for now and then take care of us first, and then later see if we can help other people.
Agree, disagree?
Agree.
Agree. Tell me why.
Just there's a lot of people, like you said, that are looking for a better life, a better chance, and they're the ones that are reaping what other people are doing. Saying there's criminals or this and that, and they're honest workers that were from their country, and they just want a chance. And instead of the way that the Haitians and everybody are bombarding our borders, I mean, everybody's just in a fiasco what to do. Sending the poor people back. We just it's just a hot mess right now, I think.
A hot mess.
People are trying to come here, and then they're sent into Mexico. They're like, know nothing of the culture, so they're even lost even more when they're just looking for a little escape to better their lives.
So you agree that we should take a pause, freeze it for a while? Okay, anybody? Go ahead, Monica.
It makes me a little nervous only because you have the people coming here for a better life, but then you have the people that are running for their life. True. So what do you do with the people who are being slaughtered and they want to come and they just need help to get away from that? What do you do with them? You tell them, wait 6 months, 8 months? You know, there's got to be some policies to help those that are in total chaos.
You look like you want to jump in. What do you think? Are they right? Take a pause? Or do you need a more nuanced policy? What should we do now in this country?
I think when the guy who led the president, the last guy, he made a grown imagine about the immigrant. I came to this country to work. I live in Green Valley, and when I went to Smith, a lot of people, Americans, a lot of people, food stamps. One day I said, I was con the cashier, I said, hey, I came to this country to work, not to pay my grocery with food stamps, in my opinion.
How long ago did you come to this country?
How long over here?
Yeah.
33 years.
Yeah.
And I never put to food stamps, never.
What do you think, John?
Well, based off stories from friends and their parents, you know, getting here is very risky and it's not a breeze, you know. Obviously doing it like the illegal route, no matter what route you take, it's not a breeze. And I just know that if you're willing to risk your life and go through hell to get here, then you probably deserve to be here, you know? And that already shows the type of person you're gonna be in terms of your diligence and hard work and just wanting to really get ahead in your life. So there is a mess going on at the moment, but I don't think I would say just stop anyone from coming for a year or 6 months or whatnot. Because there are people who aren't just, you know, just trying to hop a fence. They're really trying to escape hell. So that's what we have to think about.
Do you all think that President Biden has done a better or worse job of dealing with this than President Trump did? It was a mess that under President Trump. It's still a mess, I think, or a hot mess, to use your phrase. Has Joe Biden done a better job or a worse job? Same? No difference? What do you guys think?
I think Biden is doing a greater job, yes.
How so?
In that he actually cares and he has people out there. He's not doing what Trump did, trying to put a wall and keep everyone out and hurting people and making sure that no one comes in no matter what. There's a humanity portion to Biden. God knows we need that. We need something like that. And I think it's overwhelming now because there's so many more entities that are coming in as opposed to it wasn't when Trump was in office. I just would hope that there would be more professional people out there that would be able to get together and come up with other ideas. Use all the tools that you possibly can to come up to an agreement.
You think the president's generally doing a good job?
I believe so.
You voted for him?
Yes, I did.
Julio, what do you think?
I don't know, man. To be honest, I would say he's doing a okay job. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really follow up with it too much. I'm always at work, so I don't really follow up with what's going on and stuff. So,
did you vote in the last election?
No.
You did not?
No.
Because you weren't registered, or because you didn't like anybody, or why?
I just wasn't registered.
No?
Yeah, no, I just wasn't registered. Too much at work.
Do you think you will get registered and vote next time, or?
I hope so, yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I voted for Biden.
You did?
I did. I think he's, on the issue of immigration, I think he needs to step up a little bit more. I think the communication out of his administration hasn't been clear. I think in one spill, you know, you're welcome everybody, but then the second spill, they still are stopped and there's no open borders. I think there's just got to be a clear message. He just needs to say, this is what we're gonna do. It's obvious from all of us and personally our community here, there's some hardworking immigrants here. You know, I've seen from the days of the Sands, you know, and seeing our city grow. I mean, we are hardworking immigrants, not just Latinos. You name it, they come here and they work hard. There's absolutely, I've seen it with my own eyes. If these people that are striving for a better life, and that's what they are, because our family did it. Why don't you go to Central America, for example, and open up a production factory, company? Instead of spending trillions of dollars in Afghanistan and get nothing back, why don't we invest money into Central America or Haiti or Mexico? And okay, they produce, you know, Mexico tequila. Well, they don't. The plant at least. Let's help them better themselves and create jobs within their city. In Honduras and in El Salvador, they're having a lot of issues as well. Don't get involved in how they want to run their country. Let's help them create jobs. And by helping them, we're going to help ourselves, because now there's not going to be that influx of people wanting to come to the border to try to survive and better themselves, because now their country's providing jobs for them. So if our big corporations, you know, open up different, you know, coffee or plantations or whatever parts or whatever. I know it was back there was a treaty years back about, it was a NAFTA, I believe?
Yeah.
A NAFTA, you know, all that issue. But I think we just need to step back and say, okay, the Middle East is going to be the Middle East. It's been there before us, and it's going to continue.
So just to, I don't want to cut you up, but we only have limited. You're just saying, think about closer to home. You don't necessarily spend money in places far away, right?
Yes.
So what do you guys over here think about the job the president's doing? What do you think? Is he doing a good job?
About what?
President Biden, is he doing a good job?
About immigration? About what? About?
Immigration? Everything else?
I think he's 50-50.
50-50. Did you vote for him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, no vote for the other guy, no?
No. No chance to vote for the other guy. Okay. Sally, what do you think?
I voted for him as well. I believe the administration has a lot behind him. I don't have really much to say bad about him. He's just doing all that he can. He's a new president. So, you know, it's a new job. Everybody starts a new job. So running the world is a very, very hard career, I would say. But, you know, he's tackling things as they go. You know, and he has the administration. Sometimes I want to say administration it is what it is, you know. But for the foremost, I don't think he's done a bad job. He could do better, but he's learning within. So.
You don't sound, what's interesting to me about what you're saying is that you voted for him.
Correct.
And you probably voted for him relatively enthusiastically, yes? You thought it was a clear choice?
Honestly, I've been Democratic, but this was a round table with my family. So, you know, they're like, we're voting for him, and it seems you got to vote. There's sometimes that I've seen him, and I like what he does, but he just needs a little push harder, you know, have some little, like, he made the decision, not having to wait behind the, you know, wait for the papers to see what's going on. You got to just, you know, you're the president. Say how you feel, you know, and maybe administration may have a problem with it, but you're the president, you know, so that's my thing.
Fair enough. John, what do you think?
No, I'm not. I wasn't a fan of Trump, but, you know, I would say that Biden is probably, would be the opposite word for exceeding expectations, not really meeting the expectations that everyone had in him. And in my personal experience, I know and just talking throughout the community, you saw how when Trump was around, there was at least money, you know, whether it was unemployment or things like PUA assistance. So it's funny, it's coming from the Republican president, there was actually financial help being out, and then that got taken out as soon as Biden came in. So I would say there's things to, like you said, he's got to keep on pushing and maybe just push harder.
Do you think it's too soon? I mean, Sally essentially is saying, look, the guy just got on the job. He hasn't been there that long. Maybe you shouldn't expect so much of him, because none of you are expressing great enthusiasm for Joe Biden, right?
Yeah, because things haven't, speaking from my end, I don't think things have really changed too much. But what I just talked about in terms of financial assistance, I know that has stopped. So again, I think a lot of us did have higher expectations, but it probably is too early. We don't know what can happen in the rest of his presidency.
Yeah, it's a long time to go, right? Yeah. But do you guys think, any of you here, you might be an exception in this, Renee, but if the right Republican came along to run for governor or run for president, do you think you could vote for a Republican?
And for me, it never really matters. Republican, Democrat, whatever the case, you really just have to tune in into each individual and see the seriousness behind their claims and what their claims are and what they're trying to do, and just from your heart and intuition, make the best decision you feel is right for yourself and for your people.
Who else here thinks that?
So answering your question, yes, it's a possibility.
Yep.
Character means a lot to me. I go from there and then I start moving forward. I always think, what would Biden have accomplished if there wasn't a pandemic right at his front doorstep? You know, he had to push all of his effort to that first, more than anything else. Now he's got to work on all kinds of other issues that are coming up. And then he has a cabinet that, you know, I'm sure that there's, on the Republican side, everything he puts out there, they say no. I mean, when you can't have both parties come to a mutual agreement, it's a win-win. You get a little bit of what you want, and you get a little bit of what you want. It would be better for the whole economy, right? It would be better for the people. But it's this pecking thing, this pecking order that we can't get forward, we can't move forward to help the people of our country.
So having an R after your name, that wouldn't stop you from voting for somebody?
No, absolutely not.
What about you, Julio?
No, like I said, I've based independent. I don't really care if it's Republican or whatever it is, as long as I feel like his statements or whatever he's saying is true and honest, then I'll vote. If not, then...
You're a Republican. You voted for a Democrat.
Yes.
You think you would? You think, is it just because of you thought Trump was the wrong kind of Republican? You liked Biden. What would make you vote for a Republican again?
I guess it's like going into a restaurant. I'd like to look at the menu, see what they're going to offer. I think that's, put it simply, I'd like to see what that candidate, regardless of race, Republican, Democrat, how can me, my family, or my community benefit? I take a look at the menu. What do you have to offer? And that's played simply. One gentleman that, a Democrat, that I feel did a lot for the Hispanic community was Mr. Reed. Personally, because
Harry Reid.
Harry Reid, I know because his son, but Harry, I thought Harry did amounts of work for our Hispanic community. I know he worked closely with our...
Could you vote for a Republican?
No,
No. Why not?
never. I'm a Democrat,
Yeah.
always.
You never voted for a Republican, never would. Well, that's fair enough. Sally, what about you?
I think I've been a Democrat since I've been born.
That's
So,
okay.
Now that I'm older, and like I said, yeah, it would have to be seen exactly what the issues are behind and what their beliefs are. You know, I have a decision now. I'm an adult, so like I said, you know, it would have to be how it hits home to me. You know, I work in immigration as well, so depending on what the pros and the cons are at the time, so you make sure you follow up on on watching the news, seeing what's going on. You know, have your entitlement of to say so. So.
Fair enough. This has been a great discussion. I really appreciate all of you taking the time to share your views on all these topics. Thanks for coming today. And when we come back, Elizabeth and I are going to talk about this panel, and stick around because during the lunch break, after the lunch break, excuse me, we're going to have a couple of really smart high schoolers debate an issue that has nothing to do with anything we've talked about today. So stick around.